everybody, Lynn here from Mockingbird in Maine. Welcome to my channel. This is part 3 of our tutorial / craft with me project for the faux leather mini junk journals. And I'm kind of going to wing it with this. We're going to see what happens together. I do know that I want to do some decoupage and collage. But what I've done is I've created my 9 mini journals with the little fabric on the cover, and then I just added botanicum to the spines. I just printed those out and distressed them and then just glued them right onto the spines. I decided I'm not going to cover this. I'm going to leave them because I like the way it looks. And then in keeping with we're going to use what we have, stash buster type stuff, I dug through all of my supplies and I found this craft paper box. Couldn't find the cover, and then I realized I didn't need the cover. We're going to do something else. But it fits the journals perfectly, and then there's room to grab them out. So what I want to do is collage inside and out, because if you take them out, I'd like you to have something to look at inside. And I have decided I'm using the Old Design Shop. This is the Vintage Ephemera Botanicals. And I have decided I'm going to use, for sure, the dictionary pages, and then these 3 sheets. Love that. I do want to show you the rest of the collection, though, because I'm thinking of I may incorporate some of this for some pops of color. We'll see how it goes. But I wanted to show you because if I do not use these images in this project, I am definitely going to do another project with them. I mean, this set is just gorgeous. And I'm thinking probably a junk journal. But who knows? We will see. And then I have these printed on fabric as well, and I have a plan for that too. So those are the ones that come with the kit, and these are the ones that come with it that we are using. And one other little thing I did, I have an inkjet printer. I don't have a color laser printer. And because I knew I was going to be decoupaging these on, I did not want to chance any of the ink smudging or running, so I went over to Staples and just printed these out. I have a couple of things that I know I would like to do, and I've gathered up. I love this bag of assorted mosses. We've got some twine. I grabbed browns and greens and yellow colored pencils because I may do a little bit of coloring here and there. We've got some seam binding and some trim. We've got some leaf trim, and we've got all my faux greenery. And I would like to somehow incorporate some of it. We'll see. And then I grabbed, this is the bark that I collect in my yard and I've used on a journal cover before, so maybe something with that. And then I have these earth tone beads. I don't know if we'll be using those. I may just have them here for inspiration. And then I was thinking of putting feet on this box, and we'll do something with these. I'm going to cut out my images, and then we will go from there. Okay, I've got all of the images that I want to use cut out, and I'm going to take out all my little journals, and I'm thinking inside I do want to use some of the, would that be too easy? Some of the dictionary pages. And actually, I am going to grab this sheet too. I may do something with that. As I said in the first video, I love collage. So, and I don't know if you guys do this, but I save all these little containers when I buy something, craft supplies, because they're perfect for paints and glues. So I saved all of those. Okay, and got our paintbrush. Now, what do I want to do? I'm going to tear it. And I'm not going to tear all of the edges of everything. I'm just going to make some decisions. So I fast forwarded through all of it because basically it is just using your collage medium, whatever you choose, Mod Podge or Collage Podge or Artist Matte Medium, whatever you choose to adhere your papers. That's all I've done. I colored in here and there with the colored pencils. I have not sealed anything on the outside yet. Now, for me, this is a little too neat and clean still, because keep in mind we're putting our grungy Botanicum journals in there. I have this is a Reinker Classic Brown, and I've added it to some water in a travel spray bottle, and I am just going to spray and dab with a paper towel. Let me grab my paper towel. And I have no formula of how much ink to water. It's basically how dark you want it, so I just it's a few drops to the rest to water, 2-ounce bottle. Just going to, oh, the other thing was I don't mind these rough edges. I don't mind, and I tried a little bit of, I have an antiquing medium here, and I didn't like the way that looked, so we're gonna try, again, we're experimenting together, we're gonna try the ink spray. So let's start on the bottom. I'm just going to spray and dab. My battery died. I finished spritzing it all with the brown ink, and then I took my Vintage Photo Distress ink pad and I just went along the edges with that, and if that's a little bit too much, you can kind of wipe it off. Do around the top, and I am a very messy crafter. It's just, whoops, okay, I want to just glue that down. Okay, so what do we think? I'm not sure. Let me, I know it's never grungy enough. So I'm using the Vintage Photo and my ink blending tool. And I'm just adding that here and there. Yes, I think that's what it was missing. And of course, all subjective. You could have left it as is without grunging it up if you wanted. Oh yeah, this is definitely now becoming what I wanted it to look like. Okay guys, I think I have gotten to the level of grunginess that I was looking for, and the way I did it was after the spray ink, I didn't think it was quite right, and the brown was just a little bit the wrong color. So I took my Distress inks in Vintage Photo and Walnut Stain, and I just kind of went along the edges. I would put it on and then wipe it off. I used my blending tool, super easy, and I loved that the little edges that are torn and raggedy are now all nice and distressed and grungy. So the other thing is I've decided I'm not going to seal it with the collage, the decoupage medium, because the paper's really adhered really nicely. And again, I want that grungy woodland. These books are tucked away in a woodland cottage somewhere. So I don't want to seal it. I want it to wear naturally over time even further. Okay, so the last thing that we have to do is embellish the box. And I know initially I said I wanted to somehow implement my faux greenery on the box or in some way with the project, but I don't know if that is going to happen. And I will, I want to explain that. I've done a lot of assemblage and mixed media art, so I have my jar of, I don't know if you guys can see. Yes. This is the jar I throw everything into. I've got a giant gear. There's wooden game pieces. There are blue vintage flash bulbs, a vintage Sucrets tin. Anyway, this is where I throw all little bit typewriter keys, all little bits and pieces that, I don't know, may someday become part of a project. So for this project, I dug into it, and I also dug into our moss collection, and I had a big spring in the jar, and I just stuffed some moss into it. I've already got holes in the top here that I measured 1.5 inches in, and then the center was also 1.5 inches. And I'm not sure yet how I'm going to secure them. I think I'm probably just going to twist them around inside the box cover. But I'm going to just show you what I did. So I just grabbed little bits of the moss and stuffed them in. And let's do some green on this side. So we've got, do some green. And if I needed to, I used my pencil just to, there we go. I don't want to go too much further because I may have to trim. And it's not really a handle. I suppose it could be used as a handle, but it's more of just a decorative element. I'm just gonna hold it for now. Because I'm trying to figure out what, I may have to trim the spring down a little bit. And I'm just kind of twisting it in a little just so we can get an idea. There we go. I am going to, let's see, I'm just going to twist it like a little loop-de-loop inside. Whoops. I kind of want it flat up against the top. Take our pliers. These are not the right pliers. Okay. Always try to have the proper tools, so I'm just gonna squeeze that down. I am gonna trim off the excess, and then I'm gonna twist this side. And again, it's more decorative than anything. I don't necessarily think it should be hung by this spring. And so you say, I do not have a vintage spring hanging around in my stash. You could, and this was one of my other options that I was thinking about, do the same thing with twine, and then a little, this is driftwood, but a little branch, and then tie the twine, and that would be really cool as a little handle. Put twine through the top. Let me trim off the, where is it? I just had it here. Let me trim off the excess spring that's inside. And then I am going to just smush it down a little bit more. I mean, we had the space in there. I just don't want anything sticking out. And then let's... Oh my goodness. That one is not... There we go. And then give it a little squeeze. And squeeze there. Okay, so we've got, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, just a little, I just did like a little twisty. Okay, we have our handle on, we have our journals in, and I didn't really, I mean, I showed you when I made them, when I bound the first couple in, but it is all just tea-dyed paper and little scraps of scrapbook paper. Everything used in this project I had in my stash. I did not go out and buy anything for this, and I've been dying to use the moss on something, and so I decided against feet. I think sometimes less is more, but I wanted to create a closure to go around the box to hold the books in. So I grabbed a few of my key charms, and I decided on this one, the longest one, and I liked the brass. And so I got a length of my green twine. I'm just going to wrap it around the back, and I've created a loop. The key is tied to this end and a loop to that end, and I made it as tight as possible because I don't want it to slip off, and it just slips in and the key holds itself in there. And of course you could run a bead of glue right around the edge to hold the string, but I am just leaving it as is, so it is completely removable. So there you have it, our faux leather mini botanical junk journals, and I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope maybe it'll inspire you, and you've learned something maybe. Next Craft With Me tutorial will be the book cloth, because a few people have requested it, and I'm going to show making book cloth to cover journals, and also turning fabric pieces or also the printed on fabric images into book cloth that you can use to glue onto covers and for different projects. So that'll be coming up in the next few days. And thank you so much, guys, for sticking with me through this. And I have learned a lot, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you will be back again to see more Craft With Me's and tutorials. So subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you liked it. And I hope everybody's doing well. Take care, guys. I'll be back soon. Bye.